Are you still using DBRWs for your TM1 Excel reports? Let's have a look how we can reduce this reliance and move to the new reporting types that are part of planning analytics for Excel, that is explorations and quick reports. I'm sure you'll have hundreds if not thousands of spreadsheets across your business with DBRW formulas everywhere. So let's see how we can recreate a report using one of the new formula-free methods that have the benefit of being quicker to recalculate and easier to understand for those that are new to TM1. So we're going to recreate this typical profit and loss report that I'm sure most of you have seen within your businesses. We have month and year-to-date data with percentage of sales calculations, together with variances to budget and forecast. Let's look how this report was created. Here's our original report, built with DBRW formulas. All cells have been unhidden, and we can see all the cell references that drive the report within the formula. One reference for each dimension within our financials cube. Here we have our percentage of sales calculation, which is driven by an Excel formula. We can change the focus of our report by changing the slicer for the period. Changing from February to January sees our report get updated, and we'll change back again to February. All the typical functionality you would see in a standard P&L style of report built with perspectives. So how do we create this style of report without DBRWs? Let's start with a new workbook. With a connection to our TM1 server, we're going to start with an existing saved view, then manipulate it using an exploration, one of the new reporting styles. The idea is to get the right dimensions on the rows, the columns, and the slices, and in our case this includes nesting of the columns. So let's expand the financials cube, and under there we'll expand the views folder, and then we'll see in there one view, the default view. So we'll right click that. We're going to choose exploration on this sheet. So now we can change this exploration so it closely represents the final report layout. And we can do that by first changing our rows, which are using the account dimension. We're going to edit the set, and we're going to choose a pre-saved set called Summary P&L. So we'll move that across to the current set. Select Apply and Close. And we now have the correct rows for our report. The columns for our report need to be calendar for our month and year, measures for our monthly amount and year-to-date amount, and version for our actual budget and forecast. This is achieved by nesting the measures dimension and the version dimension underneath the calendar on the columns. So we'll move the measures dimension to the right-hand side of calendar, and then we'll take the version dimension and drop that to the right-hand side of the measures dimension. In order to simplify this view, we'll select some of the members from these columns. So first of all, we'll edit the current set for the calendar. Edit set. And we're going to choose 1 year and 1 month. So we're going to choose FY 2020. Move that to the current set. And we'll use the search functionality to find December 19. Type in December, pick December 19 and insert it on the right hand side. And then we'll do an apply and close. Next we need to edit the set for the measures dimension, as we're only interested in the monthly movement and the closing balance, which is our year-to-date amount. So on the right hand side we'll select movement and closing balance, and we'll keep those, and we'll do an apply and close. Finally, we need to adjust our version set. So we'll go to edit set, and we're only interested in actual, budget, and forecast. And we'll do a replace and close. Our explanation is now complete, and we can convert it into a quick report, which is a new reporting style without DBRW formulas. It relies on cell ranges and allows us to use Excel formatting and formula. We'll use the Convert menu, select a quick report, and we're going to place it on a new sheet. So if we have a look at this new quick report, you can see that in the cells there are no formulas, it's just numbers. And if we use the highlight feature for the quick report, you can see how it works. It works on ranges, so there's a range for columns, rows, and slices. We'll now spend a few minutes changing this report so it gives us the same look and functionality as the original DBRW report. Before we make those changes, we need to check a couple of settings within the Planning Analytics via the Options menu. Go to Options and ensure at the top Preserve User Formulas is selected. Then scroll down towards the end and you'll see a section called Quick Report Settings. Ensure that Type in Refresh is selected and Use Server Formatting is not selected. Then click OK. Our first step is to left align our accounts on the rows by removing the indent. So using the Properties menu, remove the tick on the indent and click OK. Now our rows will be left aligned. We now need to insert some blank columns for our percentage of sales and variance calculations. So we'll insert one next to the actual column, one next to the budget column, and 3 next to the forecast column to include our variances. And we can repeat that for the year-to-date area as well. We don't need the last 3 columns because we only need 3 columns for the annual numbers, so we'll delete those. So we now have the right number of columns for our report. Before we proceed, we'll go and copy the titles from the existing report, insert some rows, go to our existing report and highlight the column titles. Copy those and paste them back into our new report. We'll correct the little error there with the reference, so that should be referenced into our cost center slicer. And let's check we're using the highlight functionality that our report is still intact and all the ranges are still there. Let's copy over the main title. So go back to the existing report, copy our main title, paste that back into our new report. So now we're going to break up our report using our section headings. So we're going to insert a row above revenue. We'll delete a row that's not required anymore. We'll insert a row above cost of sales. And we'll insert a row before our operating costs. We'll add the titles. So we have revenue, cost of sales, and operating costs. Let's change the font. Make it a little bit smaller, left align the titles. So we're now in a position to be able to add our formulas. So we're going to be using some Excel formulas to do our percentage of sales calculation. So we're going to take B19 divided by B17 and lock on B17, which is our total revenue, format it as percentage to 1 decimal place, and then we copy that down for all of the rows. And we can remove it from those rows where it doesn't apply. We can copy that formula across to our budget columns, forecast, and year-to-date columns. We can now create our variance formulas. To help us to do this, we're going to use something that I call a variance multiplier. This is a series of ones and minus ones that ensures the right signage applies to the formula. We'll use a hidden column in column A to enable us to do this. So we're going to create a variance for the budget and variance to forecast. So let's insert a column at column A. We'll go back to our original report and we'll copy over the series of ones and minus ones from that column A. We'll place those onto our new report. So we can now create our variance formula, taking into account the signage. So we'll take actual minus budget. We'll then edit that formula and multiply it by column A to ensure that the signage is correct. We'll lock that on column A because we're going to copy this formula. And we'll copy that across and edit it so it works for the forecast column. We can then copy that formula all the way down. And we can also copy it to our year-to-date columns as well. Next, we need to change the last three columns that are looking at the annual numbers for full year budget, full year forecast, and prior year actuals. So in column S, we need to change this to say budget. All we need to do is overtype the word actual with budget, and the report will update. In column T, we'll change this to forecast. And for last year's actuals, we'll change that to actual. Change the period to look at FY 2019. So all columns are now correct. We'll now finalize our formatting, and the quickest way to do that is to go back to the original report. Highlight the main body of that report, and use the Format Painter functionality to copy that format. Go back to our new report, paste that on our report. And there we have our finalized formatted report. Final item to change is our slicers. So we want these to be formularized so we can choose from drop downs. So that's for the cost center. So we'll go to our old report, copy that across. We've now got a formula in there for the slicer on cost center. We need to add in a slicer for our period, and then we can then link the cells where it says December 19 to the slicer, so the report automatically updates. So go to the original report, copy the slicer formula, put it into column D, and by doing that you'll see we get a nice drop down of the available periods. We'll just cell reference where it says December 19 to D3, we'll lock that, and we can then copy that across. So our report is now complete. So we'll hide those rows that we don't want it to see. Edit the title so it's linking to the period name. So just a cell reference in there. We'll set up a print range so we can see what our final report looks like. Let's format that as landscape. As you can see, we've created our new report without any DBRW formulas, and it looks and behaves the same as the original report. Hopefully you've seen that this is a straightforward process. So thanks for watching, and I'm sure you are now better placed to take your first steps towards no more DBRWs. Please reach out to me if you have any questions.